All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live New York Prep Session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. I hope everybody is doing well today. Just before we get started, as usual, all right, turn off all distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage, as you guys always do. And for courtesy of our peers, please ensure that if you're not asking a question or making a comment, that your mic is muted. All right. Just a quick disclaimer. Trading does have risk. Trading does have risk. We're not CTAs, stands for Commodity Trading Advisors. So the information that we give is for educational purposes only. We can teach you the technicals, we can teach you the fundamentals, we can teach you everything all the way down to the trades that we like to take, including entries and take profit levels. But at the end of the day, it is up to you to place that trade, to push that button. So always, always, always remember to trade responsibly and never risk any money that you cannot afford to lose. All right. So we will we'll hop right in. And at the end, I'll go through, just for new folks that we may have on the call, I'll go through and do a quick walkthrough of the Inner Circle back office, show you what's available to you, so that just to make sure you have a good understanding of where everything is. All right. I got my guy Benny with me this morning. Good morning, Benny.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Doing great. Ready
Awesome.
to go.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to dive into the charts. If you guys have any pairs, as I switch over to my other screen, if you guys have any pairs you want me to take a look at, drop those in the chat for me, and we will take a look at them. Aussie dollar. NZD-JPY. Swish. All right. So let's get to it. All right, drop me one in the chat if you guys can see my screen. My computer's been acting funny this morning. All right, cool deal.
Yep, I can see it.
Perfect. All right, so first request was the Aussie dollar. So we'll take a look at that one. We'll pop through a couple of the other Aussie pairs, and we'll take a look at the NZD pairs as well. Okay. So with this Aussie dollar, we've been tracking the move. Excuse me. So we've been tracking this move to the downside, which is the up retracement zone. Okay. Which is this up retracement zone, right? So if we drop our fibs from the bottom to the top on this, just so we have a full understanding of our spatial awareness here, right? We came down to a 618 retracement level. Okay. The dollar was picking up some steam, and then we got this reversal as the Aussie then started to gain some strength, right? Got to bounce off the 618 retracement level right in line with this weekly support. Okay. And what we got on this was on this active fib here, right? We got a 61.8 retracement, right? And then we got that we got a nice rejection off of that. Benny showed us last night that that the dollar was preparing to pull back a bit, right? The DXY. And that is currently happening, right? The dollar is currently pulling back a little bit. So a little bit of relief for the Aussie in this case, right? So we got a 61.8 retracement on this active fib on the daily time frame. This is called our sub fib, right? This is our capital fib, right? This is our sub fib, right? This is the up retracement zone. Uptrend, price is retracing, okay? So if we go down to the 1 hour time frame on this, right? If we go down to the one, right? And if we were to map our fibs from this highest point, you see a couple things, right? As we went through this consolidation period, right? We had fibs taken out. So we'll move to this next high and we'll drop them there, okay? So we see, right, as these fibs are moving to the downside, they got taken out by this push. Should move this real quick. All right. Fib got taken out to the upside here, right? So what we do in this case, right, when those fibs when the A gets taken out, we shift our direction. Okay, so we start from the bottom and work our way up. So right now, in this Aussie dollar, we had this AB boundary form here, 118, 127, and then we got this move to the downside, right? On Tuesday, we're looking for a potential pullback here to retest the trend line. We didn't get it. Momentum was really strong with the dollar and pushed price down, right? So we got a nice pullback this morning, right? Last night, this morning. So now price is retracing a little bit. So we could be getting a little bit of relief here. So we're at a 61.8 retracement on this, right? Now, I'll take a look at the DXY. Our bias on the dollar my bias on the dollar is bullish, right? So I'm anticipating the dollar to gain strength and continue to gain strength after the pullback that it's currently having. So my bias on this ultimately is short, right? But we did get this A taken out and we have this retracement that's happening here. So what we want to see on this is if my bias is short, I would want a high price in order to sell. Okay. I would want a nice pullback, all right? And then price to get some relief. Hold on one second. Okay. So if you're not in this pair already, if your bias is short like mine is, right, you want a high price. So we're waiting on this one. What I would love to see is either, right, price give us a nice pullback like this, right, and then continue to the downside, right, and take out the A, or if price just reverses, right, and continues to the downside, to go ahead and take out that A and give us a new set of fibs to the downside, right? But at the end of the day, I want this A to get taken out, right? So we already have this move happening to the downside. So I'm going to take these out of the equation, right? So this is our active fib here that we're currently playing on. Now, if your bias is bullish on the Aussie, right, then you'd be looking for price to move back to the upside, okay? And how you can track that is simply with the trend line. Or if you're in this trade to the downside already, right, you track that with the trend lines, right? Like so, right? And see you got a break of that trend line already, like right there. Okay. So if you're in that move to the downside, right, you got to break that trend line. So you may want to think about protecting your profit, right? You got down to TP2. I want to think about protecting your profit, right? And then seeing what price does. Okay. But right now I'm just waiting on this one, right? To see what price gives me. If we take a look at Forex Factory real quick, we don't have anything on the Aussie today, but we do have some dollar news, right? Natural gas storage, crude oil inventories, which will also impact the Canadian dollar. FOMC member speaking, a couple of them, right? Bond auction, right? So we got a little bit of dollar news today, and then we got PPI tomorrow, right? So those things could impact the dollar and push this in one direction or the other. So currently where it stands, I'm waiting, right? I'm waiting for price to pull a little bit higher for then potential reversal to the downside, okay? Or price to take out that A. So that's where the Aussie dollar is right now. If we go back to the daily, right, we did get that nice deep retracement here. So this could be our signal, right? Once we get a pullback, if we get it here, right, that we could be continuing down to this de-extension level, right, to complete this Fibonacci sequence. Okay, so something to watch. I said, if you're not in it already, I would sit and wait and see what happens. Okay. Any questions on this one?
Nope, I don't see any.
Cool deal. Let's take a look at a couple other Aussie pairs, and then we can take a look at the New Zealand's. All right, so this is the Aussie CAD. Right, this is another one that we've been tracking for quite some time. Right, we're in another up retracement zone. Right, and so on this one we got a 786 retracement. Right, price came all the way down, 786 retracement. So when we track the fibs, the sub fibs from the top. Everybody, if you could, if you're not actively asking a question or making a comment, please ensure that your mic stays muted. I appreciate it. So this is the up retracement zone here, right? And we're tracking with our trend line, right? So with these active fibs here, okay, we see that we got a nice trend line break to the upside. Okay, got a nice trend line break to the upside. So this trend has shifted, right? We got very little retracement here. Price pushed down, broke below the 127 level, but didn't quite get to the de-extension. Okay, so we've been in this retracement here, right? For a little bit of time, we got a nice trend line break, right? So price is moving bullish on this. So if we take this down to our 1 hour time frame, right? We see a similar scenario, right? These are fibs on the 1 hour time frame. It's the active fib here, right? We did get a 50% retracement. Price didn't get to that de-extension on the 1 hour, okay? But we see here, price is now moving back to the upside, okay? So potentially tracking back to get to this weekly resistance level, right? It was kind of a double top at that 50% retracement, maybe deeper. So if we look at the smaller waves on this, 1 second, yeah. So if we look at the smaller waves on this, right, tracking this move to the upside, what we'll see, because we did get that trend line break on the daily time frame, right? So that means our momentum is shifted, right, and it's moving to the upside. Okay, so if we look at this, this sub fib AB boundary here, right, on this retracement move, we got a shallow retracement, 118 to 127, another shallow retracement, and price has just been pushing to the upside, right? came just short of this D extension level. Okay. But it's just bouncing off this trend line and moving up, right? So on this Aussie CAD, what we could be looking at, right, is this D extension to get hit relatively soon, right? I love this D extension to get hit, right? Potentially even push up to this weekly resistance level, and then give us a new AB boundary, right? Because price is just drifting with oil. Oil overall has been getting weak. It's been kind of stagnant over the past couple of days. But overall, oil has been weak, which impacts the Canadian dollar. We got some Canadian dollar news today. Bank of Canada member speaking, and these crude oil inventories could also impact the Canadian dollar, right? And then tomorrow we have some unemployment news that could also impact the Canadian dollar, right? And push this in one direction or the other. So what we could see is price continue higher, right? And then we get a new AB boundary, and then we could see some relief here, right? And a push back to the downside. Okay, so on this Aussie CAD, that's what I would be looking for here, right? Is this push up, and then as we get some of those news announcements to come out, the new AB boundary to form, and then reversal. We do have the stochastic in the sell zone right now, right? And we see prices pushing down. So we'll see if we do get that reversal and that D extension to be hit. All right, but this one's kind of in between. So I would, if you're in a buy, maybe start to protect some of your profits as you get close to this D extension level. And then, yeah, look for a new AB boundary to form, right, on this upside. And then we'll look for a move back to the downside. Okay. But overall, right, on this, because of the weakness in oil, I'm still bullish on this overall, just looking for a little bit of relief, low price, and then potentially continue higher, right? We have the potential for a crown pattern on the daily time frame, right? So, right, we got the left tip here. We got a break of the trend line and then a break of the high, right? So that's your ABC, right? And then you got a break of that low, right? Push down. So that's your AB boundary. Looking for this C, right? For C, the right tip, right? And price come back up, retest that level, and then a potential continuation to the downside like that, right? So that's the potential that we have in this if price continues to move to the upside in favor of the Aussie. Okay. So that's what we have from a long-term perspective, but we are short-term looking for potential relief to get a low price and then continue to the upside. Okay. Any questions on the Aussie CAD?
Nope.
All right. Cool deal. All right, so we had a request for the New Zealand yen. Zealand yen. Let's check it out. All right. All right, New Zealand yen. All right, so from a long-term perspective, let's bounce back to the daily time frame. Right. Another one, we've been in an up retracement zone. Right. So if we drop our fibs on this from the low, right, uptrend here, drop our fib from the low, it's the active AB boundary. We're tracking this daily 38.2 level, which we got, right? And then we got a nice strong, let me take this out so we can see this. We got a nice strong reversal to the upside, right? Strong move to the upside here. Okay. Very little retracement here, right? Price just been pushing to the upside. One of the indicators for risk on and risk off is this pair, right? The New Zealand yen. You got a commodity pair and you got the yen, which is a safe haven currency, right? So over the past couple weeks, right, we've been pushing to the upside. So risk on, right? Got back to this daily resistance level and we got a reaction, right? We got a reaction here, which another scenario where this could be if we get, right, the price continue back to the downside, another crown reversal pattern, right? Took out the high, then came back, took out the low, came back to this daily resistance level, not quite as high as that one, but to the daily resistance level here, right? And then we get a move to the downside like so. Okay, so in these, when you're measuring the fibs on the harmonic patterns, right? We can drop the sub fibs on it to the downside. However, those patterns are generally measured like this, right? And we got a 61.8 retracement, didn't quite get to that 786 level, right? So that D extension is here, okay? So if this move is to play out, this could be our long-term destination. Right here, okay? That would be our long-term destination. So that would mean, in theory, right, if this plays out this way, we could be shifting into a risk-off scenario for some time, okay? So something for us to watch there, right? That full move there, and we can take this, we'll keep that on, and we'll take it down to the 1 hour time frame. Okay, let's drop back down to the 1. All right, take a look at the smaller waves in this, right? Pull this out for a second. All right, so that's our daily fib brought down to the 1 hour, right? Tracking potentially this right tip of the crown pattern. So if we, just to get a little bit of confluence, right, additional detail that might give us confirmation on our bias, if we drop our fibs on this movement to the upside, we see we got a shallow retracement. Price pushed up to the 118 to 127 level, right? Didn't get to that D, right? And now we're seeing this reversal attempt to happen here, right? Hasn't really pushed strong, but we did get a break of the trend line and it's trying to make its way to the downside, okay? We got the stochastic pushing up into the sell zone on the 1 hour, and let's see, on the daily time frame, stochastic is in the sell zone, right? So we got a little bit of confluence from the stochastic, right? And we got 80-20 scenario here with the sub fibs, right? Right at this 1.8 in this 618 retracement zone. Okay. So this could be potentially setting up for, right, that move back to the downside. Okay. If we draw a trend line on this, right, that would have been our trend line there. We got the trend line break, a little pullback, and then a push out of that daily resistance zone. Okay. So that's where we are right now. It's trying to move to the downside, but it's just slowly moving, right? So you want to watch this one, right? If we get a break of, this has kind of been your support level here, right? Price came down, didn't quite get there, pushed up. So this B boundary level is acting as a level of support, right? Along with this daily support level here. Okay. So if you get a break to the downside of this, right, and potentially down like that, and then a pullback and this level holds, right, that could be your confirmation of that move to the downside, right? But you're still in this 80-20 zone. Okay. Price is pushing, trying to push back to the upside. So we could potentially see price come back and retest this daily level again before it moves down. And if you're not in this already, that could give you your high price for that entry to the downside, right? But overall, if this head and shoulder patterns plays out, right, and this daily fib completes, right, we could see a move to the downside, and this could be the setup. This sub fib AB boundary could be that setup for us, right, to enter that move to the downside for deeper retracement on the daily time frame. Okay. So that's where we are on the New Zealand yen. Okay. So some of the dollar news will impact that. And I just want to take a look at next week to see if there's any other news. Or CPI, right? That could be an impact next week. So we could see a little bit of lingering there. Not much strong New Zealand news. Okay. But that could give us another push, right? And then later on next week could give us more of a push in one direction or the other, depending on how those numbers come out next week. So this could be one that ranges a little bit until we get a catalyst that pushes it in the direction it's supposed to go, right? But I am looking short on this one because again, my bias is, like I said, it's long on the dollar, right? And potentially we could be in a scenario where with COVID picking up, right? And some countries being really cautious about it, we could see us move back into a risk off scenario, and the yen gain some strength, right, over the next couple of weeks. That's just my feeling, right, based on some of the news reports and some of the countries still struggling with this Delta variant and other variants starting to pop up as well, to the tune of about 13 variants that are out there that are being tracked. So we could see some interesting things occur in the market if COVID starts to gain momentum, similar to what it did last year. So it's something to pay attention to from that perspective. But my bias on this one is short, looking at us potentially going into a risk-off scenario. Okay. Any questions on the New Zealand yen? No. All right.
Brian, good
Yes.
morning.
Good morning, Desi.
Your trend line that you just drew, the ones going up,
Mhm.
I have mine going more to the outside of it.
You should have to the outermost point of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay, right? Because it hasn't really given you a strong direction. It's just kind of lingering.
Mhm.
That's absolutely okay, right? A more conservative trend line, absolutely. Right. And now if you get a bullish break of this trend, a bearish break of this trend line to the downside, right?
Okay.
A strong move. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Right. Strong move to the downside here, then a pullback and a retest. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any other questions on this one? No.
Yeah, we got a question about risk on, risk off. Thought we were risk off at the moment.
Just and I'll go take a look at the indicators, but this pair is an indicator of risk on, risk off, right? And Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, but when this pair is moving to the upside, right? When the New Zealand dollar is gaining strength, we're in a risk on environment, right? Risk on environment. And when this pair is moving down, it's an indicator that we're moving in risk off. But right now, price has been moving strong to the upside in favor of the New Zealand dollar in this case. But if we go to Street, all right, we take a look, right? So risk on, risk off indicators, okay. From a stock market perspective, right? On the VIX, if risk on, if the VIX is down, risk off is if the VIX is up, right? So if we look at this, right, currently it's down, right, from a long-term perspective. Can we zoom in on that? Right. So from a daily perspective, right, this is down. So if VIX is down, we're in a risk on environment, right? the VIX measures the volatility of the S&P 500, right? So overall, we're still in a risk on environment. It's kind of in the middle, right, with things kind of bouncing back and forth. But if you look at this overall, even on the 1 hour time frame, right, you see this is still to the downside, right? So it's one way to measure. Believe that. That's one way to measure, right? From the stock market perspective, from a gold and silver ratio, right? Risk on, if the ratio is down, risk off if the ratio is up, right? That's 74.35, which is high. So, right, up. So indicators point to us being in a risk on scenario. And then if you look at just the United States stock market overall, right, stock market is still trying to push high, right? So it's still in elevated levels, which tells us that the dollar would be weak, right? Because the stock market is up. But as that starts to shift, we could then shift into a risk off scenario. But currently we're still sitting in somewhat of a risk on environment. Until those numbers start to shift to more of a bearish look from a stock market perspective. Ben, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think overall we're still risk on with some caution, right? Because of what's going on with the Delta variant. Because you're getting some decent economic numbers overall coming out of a lot of the major countries. But we're dealing with the Delta variant, right? Once in a 100-year pandemic that we're dealing with. So I think overall we're risk on right now, but with some caution. So you do have some mixed sentiment out there, depending on what you're trading, what asset class you're trading. But I think overall we're still risk on, right? Investors are trying to push through it, like you say. When you look at the stock market, things like that, it continues to climb. So I would say overall we're in risk on, but it's risk on with some caution because of the variant. So that's almost like a week to week, sometimes day to day type of thing with some of the numbers that are coming out of some of the countries with the variant. So
We'll do. Any other questions? No. All right. We'll do. We had the NZD Swiss franc. Let's take a look at it. All right. So this is another, right, where we have zoom out to the daily time frame. Okay. So from a daily perspective, this is that up retracement zone here. So if we take this out just to see that move up look like. All right, drop our fit from the bottom on this, like so, right? AB boundary, 618 retracement level. And we got a strong push to the upside, right? Strong push to the upside. Weekly support up to the weekly resistance zone. Okay. So, and again, look at this move, right? We got no retracement in this. None. Just we say the market doesn't go straight up and straight down. Very rarely does this occur, but this mug went straight up, right? We got from the 22nd of August to today, it's just been moving to the upside. So what that says is momentum was strong, right? But at some point, we need some relief, right? At some point, we need some relief. Got a nice V correction here, right? Strong push to the downside, then a strong push to the up, right? Took out a couple highs on its way. Okay. So strong move to the upside. So we want to see some relief on this, right? But again, New Zealand being a commodity currency and the Swiss franc being a safe haven currency, right? It makes sense, right? Being a risk on environment, that safe haven currency would be weaker during those times. So this is the AB boundary here, right? Originally we got a 38.2 retracement, price pushed down, couldn't break the daily level, gave us a 50% retracement, pushed down to the 118, 127, stalled at the weekly support, then gave us an even deeper correction to the 61.8 level, which is right in line with that weekly resistance level, right? So now we're at a point where it looks like price is trying to stall a little bit, okay? trying to stall, moving sideways here, right? Our stochastic is exhausted, 100%, right? So if we go down to the 1 hour time frame, and take a look at this on the smaller waves, this is what we'll see. All right, so if we track our fibs from the top to the bottom on this, just to get the visual, right? AB boundary, the last AB boundary, look what we got. Price pushed to the upside, took out the A, right? So we know that when price takes out the A, generally we get a nice sizable correction in the opposite direction, right? So we'll drop our fibs from the bottom to the top. Take this out just to clean it up. Take those out. Okay, so we'll drop our fib from the bottom to the top. AB boundary, right? AB boundary formed, hit that D extension, took out the A, right? So now we're looking for, right, potential correction. Got a shallow retracement, 23.6, didn't quite get to that 38.2 level, and then gave us a double top here. Okay, so now we're looking at, all right, so we're at the top of the zone, testing this weekly resistance level. Excuse me. We've gotten very little retracement on this move to the upside from a daily perspective, right? We have some smaller moves here, smaller move there, right? So now we're looking to see, right? Will we get this correction to the downside? Okay, AB boundary, double top, okay? But price is kind of moving sideways in a range. So if we take our trend lines on this, take our trend line, like so, right? This is our highest point here, right? So we want to get through that highest point, which price tried to break through the trend line, couldn't really do it, and pushed back to the upside. And because price is moving sideways, right, I would shift this to the outermost point like that, right? I'd shift to the outermost point like that. Excuse me. So we'd want to get, you can do this two ways, right? If you're a trader of the zones, right? If you're a trader of the zones, you can trade the B boundary zone, right? Give yourself somewhat of a wider stop, 50, 100 pips, right? You do 50 pips, that'll put your stop loss at that 65921 level, right? If you do a wider stop, right? Similar to what I do a lot of times, right? Give yourself a 100 pip stop. Put your stop up here on the 66420 level, right? And then give price room to do what it does. Okay. But you got some options here, right? So we got shallow retracement. We could see price potentially push a little bit higher, right? Stochastic is pushing up into that sell zone. You see price trying to break through the top of this resistance level, but we could see price push a little bit higher if it does come up to this 118, 127 level, right? Before it gives us that move to the downside, right? So if you, another way you can do it, right? If you trade smaller, you can take an entry here at the B boundary level, right? Set your limit order here, right in between the 118 and 127. So if price does push up to that level, right, it'll take your second order into play, right? And then you have two orders running to the downside, right? If and when we get that correction, okay? But we know that we have not gotten much relief on this, right? So looking for some potential relief here. Yeah, definitely need some good price action push to the downside for sure, Shauna. Right, so we could get a push up and then a push to the downside, or right, price could just give us that reversal out of this resistance zone, right, and break that trend line, retest, and then continue, right? But talking about the risk on, risk off environment, right? NZD JPY, NZD Swiss franc. If things play out, right, the way that they could, which things are starting to align, right? Be boundaries at levels of resistance, right? Strong levels of resistance. Things are starting to line up for potential corrections to come. Okay. So that's what we're looking at on this NZD Swiss franc. At what point does the stochastic change from a buy to a sell zone, right? So you got these two lines here, right? 80% and 20%. Okay. When it's at the top, right, it means price is overbought, and you could have selling momentum coming into the market. When it's at the bottom, it's oversold, and there's buying momentum coming into the market. So if it's high, looking for selling opportunities. If it's low, you're looking for buying opportunities. But these are exhaustion levels, 80% and 20%.
Thank you, sir. What about when stochastic is at the middle, in between?
If it's in the middle, you're likely going to see some consolidation, right? Or it could just be in the middle of moving in the direction that it's going. So you want to wait, you want to get some confluence on that. And you want to wait for it to be at exhaustion levels, because it could continue going and the price could continue moving in the direction that it had been moving if it's in the middle, right? But the middle point of 100% scale is 50%. So if it's at a 50% level, it's right in between. But you'll get points when you look at it where it is in the middle, right? But you just assume that price is moving in the direction that it's moving, right? So if we're to look at this back here, right? And we saw price was, stochastic was in the middle here, right? You see price was trying to make its way to the upside, right? You got a little bit of a stall, but trying to still make its way to the upside. Then once it got to the top, right, you see we got kind of a stall, and then price tried to move back down, right? Stochastic started to move back down, right? And then it moved back up, price moved back up. Stochastic moved down, price moved down, right? So you want to wait until it gets to these exhaustion levels, right? As an additional point of confirmation, right? I wouldn't use it solely, but for additional points of confirmation, you can use that as an indicator if you need some additional confirmation of your bias.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. Any other questions on this pair, right? Moving sideways right now, but potentially setting up for some relief to come, whether it be here at the B boundary level, right, with this double top that form, or slight push up to this 118 and 127 zone, and then give us that correction. Okay. So that's where we are. NZD Swiss franc.
I don't see any other questions, Ryan.
All right. Cool deal. Give me 1 second, everybody.
Hey, Coach,
What's happening, Sean?
not to get off task, but Ebony got married the other day, so we need to
She
congratulate.
did? What?
Yeah, man, she been holding out on us, man.
Congratulations, Ms. Ebony.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Is she on the call?
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to be later with this money too, so gotta get to this paper.
No doubt.
Catch
That's
these
awesome.
pips and build that nest egg.
There we go. Congrats, Ebony.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Ebony.
Thank you, y'all. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
My bad for the commercial break, Coach.
Nope. Hey, no, we got to celebrate each other, man. That's an awesome thing. That's an awesome thing. We got to celebrate each other. So I love it. I love it. So that's where we are. Cool deal. Let's another request for the dollar yen. So this is real quick. This is the 1 hour chart for the DXY, right? So price has been pushing up. We got shallow retracement, right? And this is that pullback that's happening currently, right? Pullback that's happening currently. So just be aware of that in those dollar pairs that you may be trading. Price could potentially push a little deeper, right? Or we could get a reversal, right? We're sitting in a monthly support zone. So something to watch. Something to watch as you're tracking your dollar pairs. Okay. So dollar yen, USD/JPY. All right. So this one has been a little funny. Been a little funny, but still been moving nonetheless. I'm clean this up a little bit. Been kind of all over the place, right? Just sideways movement. You see the fibs getting taken out on both sides, right? In that consolidation, it can get a little messy. But moves in there nonetheless. So if we pop out to the daily time frame, okay, we see that, oops, let me take those out. Can clean this up real quick, everybody. Won't allow me to click on that one. Okay, so we see that we've been kind of in an upper retracement zone, right? Price pushing to the upside. We got shallow retracement, 118 to 127 level. Got another shallow retracement. Didn't get to that 38.2 level. Price pushed up, but also didn't get to the D extension, right? So we've been moving just back and forth in this range. Now price is trying to settle into this range between this daily resistance and daily support zone, right? It's just been sideways for most recent time, okay? Just been sideways. So difficult to kind of see in this space on the daily time frame, just because we have that sideways movement. So, excuse me, if we drop down to the 1 hour time frame to figure it out, right? Figure it out. If we start at the high and make our way down, right, the fibs get taken out. And if we come down to the low, make our way up, the fibs get taken out, right? So we're just bouncing back and forth with the fibs. We have an active fib here, right? AB boundary form, shallow retracement, 118, 127. Price has been trying to make its way up, right? So we got TP2 off of that move, okay? And then price started to reverse. So we didn't quite get to the top of the zone in this range, right? Now price is trying to make its way back to the downside. We got a stochastic in the buy zone, right? Almost at zero. So price is starting to get exhausted. In these scenarios, it's kind of difficult to, well, there could be easier pairs to trade, right? I'll say that off top. But in these range plays, right, you if you want to trade it, you have to trade the smaller waves, right? So price has just been kind of moving sideways, back and forth, right? We're at somewhat of a low point, right? The previous level of resistance, right here. Previous level of resistance, okay? And price is starting to stall out, right? So it could be potentially looking at a reversal to come, right, after the strong move to the downside. Okay, so in that, what you can do if you're looking to trade this, right, come to the most recent high point, right, and drop your fib. AB boundary, we got a 786 retracement, and price just pushed to the 1618 extension level, right? So price is exhausted, right? Price is exhausted. Strong momentum to the downside. So what you could be preparing for, since that occurred, right? Once this candle closes, you'll have a new AB boundary, right? A new AB boundary, something like that, right? AB boundary forms now, right? And that's if this candle closes higher than this low point. But once that new AB boundary forms, see price pushing. Once that new AB boundary forms, then you have potential trade opportunities. Okay. So you want to wait for that to occur. Wait for that to occur. Be a smaller move, right? But right, 20 pips to TP1, 30 pips to TP2. Well, we see, look at that price pushing to the downside. So that won't be the B boundary. See, that won't be the B boundary. So on this one, you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient, right? Price still trying to push to the downside. So on this one, I wouldn't play it. I just sit and wait for price to get to the bottom of this range, or push all the way back to the top. It's in the middle, right? Just moving back and forth. So easier pairs to trade, in my opinion. I wouldn't be looking to trade this one until I got an extreme low or an extreme high. So that's what it is, right? In between that daily resistance and daily support. Okay. Any questions on the dollar yen? Nope.
Nope.
All right, cool deal. Let's see what else we had pop in. Pound yen. We'll take a look at that one. And the pound NZD. All right, we'll take a look at those. Grab the pound yen real quick. All right. So on this one, right, we see, right, we've been in this up retracement zone for quite some time. Benny took a look at this one last night, but AB boundary, shallow retracement, 118, 127, and price has been moving to the downside, right? So we zoom in a little bit here and we see that, right? We drop our trend line from the top to the bottom to monitor this move, and we just get pushes off the trend line, pushes off the trend line. We're at the trend line now, right? And we're looking to see what's going to happen. What's going to happen? We got a reaction, right? But off of this, right, this move here, right, drop that trend line to the upside, right? Price is bouncing off of that. So we're coming into a point where price is going to have to make a decision, right? We got stochastic in the sell zone here. So from a daily perspective, we're kind of sitting in the middle, right? Waiting for one party to take over, right? Whereas the bulls are the bears. So if we long term, sorry, before I leave from this, right? Long term, we're tracking this daily 38.2 level, right? We're looking for price to come down to this level at some point. Okay. At some point, we're looking for price to come back down to this level, right? And it's over 800 pips away, right? 850, 860 pips. So we're looking for price to come back down to that level. If we, right, remove this fib for now, right, and we just track the sub fibs from the top to the bottom, seeing as overall our bias is short, looking for that 38.2 retracement level, right? So if we drop our fibs from the top to the bottom, right, this is our AB boundary. We had price come up to the 618 retracement level, right? Gave us a nice double top here, and price pushed down, pushed out of that zone, gave us another nice retracement. Okay. Now we're at a decision point. We're at a decision point. Okay. So if we drop down to the 1 hour time frame, look at it a little bit more closely. Okay. We see, let's see. So the fib got taken out there. So we'll drop the fibs from here. Right. This is our active AB boundary, right? Push down, nice retracement, 6 to 8%, right? Hovering, right at that trend line, right? See, we got that bounce last night. Price is trying to push back up, right, to the top of the zone. So if this fib plays out, right, off the 1 hour time frame, our extension would be here currently, right? Unless we get a push above this trend line. As it stands, right, 618 would be that 1 hour 1 hour extension level. Okay. You go back to the daily, right? This extension fib here is kind of in line with that daily 38.2 level, right? A little bit above, but in line with price pushing to the downside. So what we want to do is we want to see, right, what price does. Okay. If you trade, right, if you trade the sweet spots and you entered this pair already at the 618, right, if you had a limit order set there, right, you want to place your stop above the high in the event that price pushes higher, right, because it can push higher and still not take out that A. Okay. So we want to see what happens in this zone, right? But that could be a scenario, or if price pushes higher, right, we can look for those reversals to occur at that point. So we got to bounce off of this trend line. Okay. So we want to break, right? We want to break of the trend line. So as price pushes up, we may have an opportunity at some point to draw an inner trend line, right? Depending on what occurs at the top half of this zone, right? Could give us a double top all the way up here. Okay. Give us a double top and then a reversal. So something to watch. So we're sitting at a 618 retracement level, right? With a bias to the downside. That's the overall bias on it. So this one we'll wait and see what happens. We'll wait and see what happens if we get a rejection off of, whoops. Push up, reject off that trend line, and then give us a reversal, right? Or do we get more sideways movement? Right, and then come into that X, right? That true decision point, and then we get a breakout in one direction or the other, right? If we move into this risk off scenario, right? If the dollar gains the strength, right? This pair moves similarly to the dollar pairs. So if the dollar gains the strength, we could see it push to the downside, right? But if the pound picks up that strength and the dollar doesn't, we could see this push higher. Okay. So we got some news later today, some news tomorrow that could help us, and then some news next week that could also push this pair in one direction or the other. But my bias overall in this is short. I'm looking for a reversal at some point for this to continue to the downside. But right now we're in a range. Okay. Any questions? No.
Nope, don't see any, Ryan.
We'll deal. We'll take a look at this NZ pound yen,
Coach,
and then we will. Yes, ma'am.
you scroll out for a second so I can screenshot this.
Yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Ron, good morning, sir.
Morning, Ron.
Great, guys. How about you guys?
Doing well, man.
Better that you on the call, Ron.
I'm sorry?
Better that you on the call and you told us good morning.
Yeah, it's a good day for all of us today.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Yeah.
All right. You good, Sean? All right.
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, Coach.
No, you good. All right. So let's take a look at that pound New Zealand. Benny covered this one last night as well. Let's see. I think I got it marked up on here. So on this pound New Zealand, okay, let's pull back. Daily time frame. Just been moving sideways, right? Moving sideways. And we got a nice break to the downside, right? Price pushed down below that weekly support level, which it couldn't break. Now we got to a low point, okay? Got to a low point. So if we take a look at this, and if we drop the fib on this from the top to the bottom, right? That's our new AB boundary on the daily time frame, okay? In that range, it would have been bouncing back and forth. So we just take it from the highest point and work it down. Okay. AB boundary on the daily time frame, price is just moving sideways, however. Okay, price is just moving sideways. So if we drop down to the 1, right, we got a nice break of that weekly support level. Price could be coming back to try to retest that. Okay, so if we go down to the 1 hour, go down to the 1, right, we got a trend lines there. We're looking for a reversal there, didn't quite occur, but we got this sideways movement, right? Got this sideways movement. So our trend line on this one would shift to the outermost point, like so, right? If we draw those smaller waves on the 1 hour time frame, right? We know our AB boundary is from the top to the bottom on this on the daily time frame. If we break that down smaller, right, we see that we got AB boundary here, right? B boundary formed at the same space, and then it's just been sideways. It gave us a 38 to retracement, but it's just been sideways movement. So if this is to give us a retracement back to the upside, right, we want a strong break of that trend line. We want a strong break of the trend line, right? It broke and then it came back, right? Couldn't break out of this high. Couldn't break out of that high. So still moving sideways. Could push deeper, right? Stochastic pushing up into the buys, into the sell zone, right? So could get price to push back down to the bottom of this range, right? So that's the range we're sitting in right now. Okay, so we'd love to see some relief on it, but we need a breakout. We need a breakout to confirm it. Okay, need a breakout to confirm it. So that's where we are on that. Tracking the larger fib on that, right? If you you pull that fib from the top to the bottom. Okay, these would be your TP levels. Okay, TP1, TP2, TP3. If that full fib gets retraced there. Okay. Right. If that pound gains some strength, right, and that commodity currency of the New Zealand takes a back seat, right, that could be the move to the upside. That could be the move to the upside. So we'll wait and see, right, when this breakout comes. We'll wait and see when the breakout comes. That's where we're sitting. Okay. Any questions on this one? No?
No, no question. I'm in this one heavily, anticipating that it breaks out on the upside.
Get that reversal. Yeah. It was a strong move to the downside. So a reversal would definitely be nice. Reversal would definitely be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I follow thought there. All right. So real quick, what I want to do, we do have a couple new folks on the call that weren't on the call last night. So I want to run you through the back office, right? So after you enrolled, you got an email, set up your username and password, right? You click on your icon, you click on the library, right? In this section gives you access to everything that we have to offer for you, right? We have your subscription. This is your training, right? This is the core of everything that we do from beginning to end, right? Basics to advanced Forex video library. So here we have everything, right? If you're completely new to trading, right, breaks down why we're here, right? What trading Forex is. And then we give you everything step by step by step, right? We get into the meat and potatoes of the methodology that we teach, right? We talk about the fundamentals. We talk about risk on, risk off environments, support, resistance, and trend lines, how to identify them, how to draw them. We give you homework assignments, right, that we ask you to complete and post in the community so that we can get you some feedback, right? And we continue to take you through the wave sequence, Fibonacci, part 1, part 2, part 3, right? Then we talk about trading the sweet spots. What are the zones that we like to trade and why, right? How they look, what they look like, how to enter them, and how to measure stop losses and take profits. 80-20 setup, which we've discussed quite a bit today, right? Full time frame analysis. And then we get into risk management, right? Managing risk is a major part of what we do. Okay. And then we have a piece on understanding leverage and how leverage works, right? Breakdown of every single piece step by step by step. So these live sessions are the whole picture, right? Everything that we do in one section, right? You come to these live sections, you see that. You go back to the training and it breaks it down step by step by step for you. Then you come back to the live sessions, see it in a whole picture again, and you can ask specific questions based on what you're learning as you're going through the training, okay? This is extremely important for you new folks to go through, right? So that you can truly have an understanding of why we teach this thing the way that we do. And it's all literally what we do every single day, right? You won't see Benny, Casey, and I deviate from what we teach, and it won't change, right? It won't change. It's consistent. It's what's helped us be consistently profitable in the markets. And our sole purpose in doing this is to help people become consistently profitable. That's it. That's it, right? So go through the training. It's extremely important. Check out the mindset section as we go to the community. Mindset is extremely important. We talk about it all the time. Oops, let me go back. We talk about it all the time. We have a Mindset Monday that we kick off at 6:30 a.m. Eastern time, Monday mornings. The mindset is one of the major pieces to this game, right? One of the major pieces to this game. You have to understand yourself. You have to understand your thoughts and how to manage them, right? And how to manage them. So in the community, right? In the community, which is another one of those options in the My Library section, right? We break everything down for you under the topics tab. Our weekly ritual, which we kick off 7 a.m. on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. We go through all the pairs, right? To get a look and a preview for what we could be looking for in the next week, right? Mindset Monday. These are all the Mindset Monday videos back to June, right? Extremely important to go back to those videos in June and watch them, right? I take the team through some really, really specific conversations, right? To help you understand who you are and how you think better. What you'll realize is as you really start digging into these charts, a lot of your personal characteristics, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, and even some of the current scenarios and the stresses in your life start to show up, right? And they cause you to make decisions that you wouldn't normally make without those being present. So we talk through how to think through those situations, right? And how to manage them in a specific way. Trade setup section. If you identify any setups, drop them in here, right? Drop them in here for the team to take a look at, and for Casey, Benny, and I to take a look at as well. Okay. Before and afters, we haven't really used this much. We utilize the Telegram group for our setups, right? And then we can take a look at before and afters from that section. And then ask an educator. If you have specific questions that you want to ask us, drop them in here, right? It's highly likely that a question that you have, someone else is thinking, right? So don't hesitate to ask. I know we have struggled sometimes posting public things in the public, but we created this environment. Hold on one second, everybody. We created this environment so that we can support each other, right? We legit look at this as a family, right? So when I said earlier, we got to celebrate each other, we do, right? We also are able to lean on each other when we need help, right? So asking questions is extremely important. Posting your homework assignments in the community is extremely important so you can get that feedback. Implementation is the way that you're going to be able to get these concepts to stick. You'll never be perfect. So don't think that you have to be, or you should be. I'm not, Benny's not, Casey's not, right? But it's about growth and it's about progress, right? And if we can grow and become 1% better every day, we win. We win, okay? So work on, in the Mindset Mondays, we talk about stepping outside of that comfort zone, right? Challenging yourself in different ways, right? To find that 1% growth. Even in the mistakes, there's learning opportunities, and that's growth, right? So Inner Circle Live, you can go here and look at all of the live videos, right? All the way back to June. It's over 70 videos in this section alone. So definitely good to go back and watch those. Okay. Good to go back and watch those. In this resource update section, we have a reading list, right? If you're a reader or an audiobook listener, right? Books on mindset, books on leadership. Great section to take a look at. We have Casey's risk calculator, right? Video on how to utilize it and a link to download it. Extremely important tool, right? In managing your risk, right? And in tracking the trades that you take, right? It's a whole workbook that Casey built that's absolutely phenomenal. So definitely watch this video and get that downloaded. Here we have links for fundamental websites, right? That we use for fundamental analysis, news reports, things of that nature. You'll see us pop through these sometimes in the live sessions, and then in the Saturday ritual. Great section to take a look at. Be able to learn a lot in regards to risk on, risk off, what some of the reports mean, right? Where some of the banks and institutions, how they're shifting and placing their orders, right? Tons of great information here. Then if you're completely new to trading, right, we got an MT4 setup video that Casey did for us as well. And then if you are a TradingView user, right, primarily on all of our live sessions, we utilize Smart Trader because of the smart technology. It helps us streamline our markups, right, save us some time. And the Smart Fib is a phenomenal tool that helps us in the Fibonacci sequence, so we don't have to draw those out manually. But if you're a TradingView user, Casey did a video breaking down how to set up your Fibonacci tool in TradingView so that it mirrors what we have in Smart Trader, right? The only difference is you have to draw each fib out manually in order to get them placed accurately, okay? But great video. If you're a TradingView user, you can get your Fibonacci tool set up, how we utilize it so you can track what we're doing. All right, and then if you want to try out Smart Trader, there's a link here for a 30-day trial for the mid-level package for $4.95. Give you 30 days to try out the tool, see if you like it, see if you want to switch over to it, but that's totally up to you. Everything that we do, you can do in TradingView just the same. It's just a little bit more of a manual process, right? In some of the training videos, I do walk through how to draw out the fibs manually in TradingView so that you can see it from a TradingView perspective. But traditionally, on a daily basis, we use Smart Trader for that reason. Okay. When you're doing your homework from the training videos, post them here in the feed. Right. Post them here in the feed. Right. Tag me, Casey, and Benny, and we'll get you feedback. All right. So that's an overview of the platform for the new folks. It's time to dig in, man. It's time to dig in. Right. The work you put in is what you'll get out of it. Right? You hear Benny say all the time, everything that's worth having is uphill. You're learning a new skill, give yourself some grace, take your time and go through it. Don't compare your journey to anybody else's because you're you and they're them, right? So your journey is going to be separate from anybody else's journey. So take your time, really immerse yourself in the information, right? Immerse yourself in the experience and ask questions and implement, right? So that's what I got for you guys today. Benny, you got anything before we close out, man?
No, sir. I think that was a perfect way to end it. Do the work, right? You want to become an independent, profitable trader, right? That's consistent. And you want to do it on your own so that you, in essence, become your own signal. You got to do the work. Spend some time in that back office. So everybody have a great day.
Have a great day, everybody. Check us out. Check Benny out tonight, Asian session, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll get some more education and some more looks at some of these setups. All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, everybody.
You're welcome. Have a phenomenal day.